You know when you get your insurance policies and you have no idea what you just signed up for, and then you have a lot of questions and you're confused on some of the fine print, but you actually never get back around to looking at the fine print? Why do we do that? There's so much that we're missing, and there's so much that we need to know, I think, about insurance. So in our virtual green room right now, he's probably looking at the fine print, Alec Stewart, and he's going to fill in some of those blanks for us. He's with Eagle Independent Insurance Company. Hey, Alec, how are you?
I'm great.
So that is true, isn't it? You know, before you got into this business, did you tell me the truth? Did you read the fine print all the time?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So the problem is there's so much that we're missing. There's so many things that we don't, review or don't know. And in fact, we've seen commercials on this. We don't know how much we're covered for really and what we're not covered for. And I guess, that's because, and this is just my thought, we know we need insurance and all of that, but we don't take the time to really take a breath and go through with people like you. Hey, what does this mean? And do we need to be covered more for here? And what is it that we need to do? So what do you think, and this is a wide open question, what do you think is the one thing the biggest thing, I guess, that people miss when it comes to getting insurance and shopping around for insurance and realizing what the coverage is?
Most times the thing that we see that people miss the most is really understanding what they would be out of pocket on as far as a deductible if they have a claim. Because as you mentioned, most people don't really think about or look at their insurance in detail until after they have a claim instead of beforehand. So the biggest recommendation that we always have for people is get copies of your current policies, go through, look for any questions you may have, and then if you're not with an independent agent, definitely go out to an independent that represents multiple carriers so that they can do the work for you and do a complete evaluation of your carrier, your coverage, your premium, and also possibly go out and get you more competitive quotes.
There you go. And that's the thing. Somebody told me this the other day, and it's so true. I saw this with myself, and I guess it's because I had that heads up. You go along, you think, the insurance company's good. They're calling me, sending me the Christmas card, whatever, the magnet. I'm covered for my homeowners. I'm covered homeowners-wise on X, Y, and Z. But then the amount keeps going up and up and up and up. But as you said, because you're not shopping around, and that a lot of times that's the way to sneak in the fees, right? By just people are lulled to sleep and they think this company's great, but every year it creeps up higher and higher and higher where they could really be getting a better insurance rate.
You're absolutely right. And most Americans are either with the captive carriers and agents, Allstate Farmers and State Farm, or directs like Geico that are only able to present one set of quotes. And unfortunately, insurance is not a one-size-fits-all type product. And so going to an independent that has multiple carriers and multiple different types of policies that are tailored to what you may need is great. And also at the same time, you know that your insurance is being shopped and you're getting the best price.
Yeah, there you go. How about this? Here's another thing I think that people miss, and I saw this with a friend of mine who was irate, the cancellation fees. You just figure, okay, so now I have gotten smart and I want to shop around, and they cancel a policy. What is that? Why do you get these cancellation fees? Because they sneak them in there, or what is that about?
Well, oftentimes carriers, once you're with a certain carrier, if you're not on EFT or you're not on escrow payments with your home or even with your auto, what'll happen is that you won't necessarily see a bill come out, or it'll get lost in the mail, or there'll be some overlap. And when that happens, a carrier will typically send out a cancellation notice, and then they'll automatically cancel it. And then once that's done, to get it reinstated, some carriers may or may not have a fee. Most of our carriers don't. And as I mentioned before, the big ticket item is to look at your deductibles, whether it's your home or your auto, because over time, as your home renews, let's say, if it's going up and you happen to be with a captive that can only provide one quote, they may talk to you and adjust your deductible. You may not really realize what that means, but if they change it from, let's say, a 1% to a 2% deductible, you're out twice as much money if you were to have, let's say, a major roof claim.
Oh, right. And you wouldn't have known that unless you were paying attention to that, for sure. And also in the Department of shopping around and looking at the rates, and you hear that your neighbor got this rate and this person got that rate, a lot of people also misconstrue how important the credit score is. FICO plays a part in this, doesn't it?
What insurance companies typically do is they use what they call an insurance score, and part of that insurance score may or may not be credit. Some carriers are different. Typically, on the independent agent side, they don't let us know what particularly is driving somebody's insurance score. So it could be a combination of possibly credit. Some carriers don't even use credit. It could be a possible claim issue that's happened in the past, some kind of payment insurance issue. So it could be a variety of different things, but some carriers do, in fact, use credit as well in looking at somebody's insurance score.
Yeah, and you talked about this too a little bit. We brushed onto this, but the other thing, and this is what people are looking for when something happens, whether it's a roof because of hail damage, we see tornadoes. We just saw some horrible tornadoes rip up parts of Oklahoma. And the settlement amounts, what is the settlement amount that you're going to get from the insurance company? Because, of course, insurance companies, the game is they don't want to really have to pay out. And I guess this is also part of it. What's the lowest the company can pay out? And are those the kinds of questions you should ask? What happens if it's this happens, Mother Nature, whatever, so that you know what you're going to get?
Exactly. So as I mentioned before, preemptively, proactively doing an evaluation of your own insurance and coming up with those kind of what-if questions and then going over those questions with your agent is key so that you would know what would happen in a given circumstance. But going back to your specific claims example, the big-ticket item is going back to the independent model. Everybody should have an independent advocate that's unbiased working for them. So if you have an independent agent that has placed your insurance with a particular carrier, it's their job, if there is a hail claim or there is an auto claim, whatever it may be, to get in there and advocate for you, work with the claims adjuster to make sure that you're made whole and you're getting exactly what you're due in that claim situation.
Yeah. And also, too, when you sit down and do your insurance, and we're speaking with Alec Stewart about what I think is incredibly important because we all, in some form, have insurance, whether it's homeowners and auto and a combination of a bunch of other things. In one way, I think you can never be too insured because there's things that people don't realize with a business, and I think people also get snipped there that they don't have coverage on a certain business. So we have a lot of entrepreneurs that would be listening, and there are a lot of people across the country that are going more that route, where we see with technology, Alec, there are people developing apps and that kind of thing. So they start these companies. And there is liability, isn't there? There's people that could go after them for certain things in their business, and you need to be covered for that, right?
Absolutely. And, I'm a small business owner myself. We have a mobile app for Eagle, and we deal with these issues all the time. A solid chunk of our business is commercial business insurance. And again, going back to the agent-consumer relationship, whether it is personal lines, home and auto, or whether it's business insurance, really being able to work with somebody that you trust that has multiple options to deliver is key because they can get the tailored coverage that you may need for your business, specific instances where your particular liability may be, and tailor a policy so that you do have what you need, but on the flip side, you're not paying for something you don't need or paying too much.
Yeah, oh yeah, and that's the key. You don't want to pay too much, or you don't want to get something you don't need on top of all the other things that you have. Is there something new in the homeowners arena that people are drawn to, some instrument or something that seems to be particularly interesting these days that you need coverage for that we didn't have necessarily in the past?
The big ticket item you always hear about is flood. And so, people don't understand that as they're looking at their policies, one of the things they need to be looking for is leakage and seepage insurance and make sure that's covered where you may have a pipe, let's say, that's in a wall that over a long period of time is seeping water, and you may not even know about it. And so double check that, look for leakage and seepage. And then, of course, if you're in a FEMA-designated flood zone, you definitely need to get quotes for flood insurance. But even if you're not, if you're by any type of standing water or rising water type situation, ask your agent to get you a flood insurance quote, so at least you can look at it, be educated about it, and make a decision on whether or not you think you need it.
Yeah. Good stuff. Alec Stewart from Eagle, thanks so much for coming on America Tonight.
Thank you so much.